What's going on, guys? So instead of recording the run and then showcasing it, I figured, you know what, let's just jump into the middle of it, basically. So what we're currently doing is Ultra Nightmare of the new Chimera boss on the test server. I'm working through some of these trials. I try to make a team that can finish a decent amount of the trials, that could be full auto, and could do some pretty good damage. Now, this team's not going to do the most damage during the Force Affinity rotations. Once it goes into anything other than Force, Ninja is going to lay on a ton of damage. But until then, he's just not going to work out that great. So this team has Gwendolyn for decreased accuracy, decreased speed, and leech. Really, the decreased accuracy and the leech are very, very helpful for this form, preventing it from stripping, for just a lot of, it's solid. But the leech is super nice for consistent heals. Got a lot of good damage dealing champions. Siphi doesn't heal for that much, so Gwendolyn is helping out a lot. I have Helicath for more than just his block damage. His block damage is good, but once we get to the 4 to 6 trials, the Chimera is going to be ignoring block damage. Now, I'm not certain if it's all forms ignoring it, you guys may know, or if it's just the ultimate form. I hope it's just the ultimate form, but either way, his shield buff that he brings is also fantastic. Now I'm hoping we can get a shield, or actually really just a shield, protected going into the Viper form, because the Viper form has honestly been the biggest headache to me. I want a lot of protected buffs for that, protected block debuffs. I want everything protected, honestly, because it'll probably just kill me. And I really hope it doesn't, because I want to finish out this run, but it probably will. I'm not going to touch anything. It's going to be full auto, so we'll see how it goes. But here we go. It's swapping and placing the stuff, stripping everything. We actually didn't die, so that's twice this run I didn't die. You're going to go against each form 2 times, and once you go through it, well, hopefully you got some pretty good damage. This run is going to come up a little bit short of the second to top chest. I forget which one that is. I think it's around 80 million though, so it's probably going to be a little bit short. But if we had Ninja against any affinity other than Force, this would easily be 80 million. It'd probably be closer to the 112, 120 million. Now for these trials, the one in Lion form for some reason is messed up. I can try to do another run and just show you guys the initial starting points of it, but I definitely was meeting all these requirements and it just wasn't doing anything. But these are important, especially for, as far as I'm aware, Chimera Clash once it comes around. These are going to kind of work as your multipliers. I'm not for sure how exactly it's going to be structured, but besides that, it gives some crafting materials, not like a massive amount, but you're going to want to try to complete the trials as you're going through this, as well as dealing as much damage as possible. Now, when it switches back over into the ultimate form, we may get wrecked, but maybe not. Honestly, this is doing pretty good. I'm happy with this team. This is probably going to be the team that I move over into the live server and use regularly. I'll show everybody the builds, also kind of for my own sake to look back on what I need to shoot for with the champions, but protection, 9-piece protection is going to be very, very valuable. If not 9-piece, 6-piece is going to be very helpful, or a Latreon Blade Master, but having protected buffs makes stuff so much smoother because you're not going to have to worry about things just getting stripped all the time. The ultimate form strips it. So we got 5 turns in the ultimate form. It switches into the ram form. 5 turns of ultimate, then 5 turns of lion form. Each time the ultimate form comes back, you're going to get your buff stripped. Well, if you have protected buffs, then they're not going to be stripped. Also against the Viper form, you're going to be stripped as well. This may actually hit 80 million. If it does, hey, I'm super excited. This team's moving up 1 key every other affinity except for the Force affinity, which, honestly, if I got Ninja higher blessings, it'd be even better then. But I wanted to share this team. I doubt it's going to be one of the better ones when Chimera actually comes out, I think this week. But maybe it gives you some idea of what to work off of. 70 million? All right, not quite, but relatively close. Gwendolyn actually did some pretty good numbers. 22 million, Helicath did 9.6, and Ninja did 32 million. We finished it out with a few different, actually let's go ahead and just keep results, because we can use the same team again, which is awesome. So we got 8 of the mythical, 13 of the epic, and then 8 of the rare. So let's go ahead and exit this. Got a pretty decent score. I like the Gwendolyn in here. I'll show you guys all the stats and the gears in just a little while. But 5 trials, that's not horrible. It's definitely not what it should be hitting though. So we're in the master chest range, but very close to Grandmaster. Easily Grandmaster once we go a different affinity. But honestly, I could probably squeeze enough damage out even with this setup to get enough damage on the other difficulties. Real quickly, let's look at the gear, and I'm going to jump back in for another run and kind of go through the steps and processes of it. So Lady Mikage, she is fast. Let me make sure the volume's not too loud on this, because sometimes the test server change. Okay, I think we're good. But as far as Lady Mikage, so she's in Relentless plus Reflex. The other champions in the team do not have Relentless or 9-piece Merciless. Now, if I had 9-piece Merciless, maybe I'd throw them in it, but I don't want them taking extra turns necessarily, though Gwendolyn takes them anyway, so it may not even matter. But I really want to keep Helicath's block damage and shield on everybody. But to be fair, if Ninja, he's the only one who I'd really consider it. If he had 9 pieces of Merciless, I'd probably just throw it on him because it's so good. It's just so good. But he doesn't have it just yet. So either way, Mikage, Relentless plus Merciless, or 9-piece Merciless would be excellent. You could build her for some more damage, but you do have to be careful with who you put as the lowest crit damage. It's very important. Do not have your Revive champion as the lowest crit damage. The Ram form is going to do the punches, it looks like, and chunking your HP, and it will kill a champion with the lowest crit damage. So I was trying to make sure Mikage and Helicath had lower crit damage than Siphi, even if they had the increased crit damage buff and Siphi didn't. So they should be good. But as far as the stats, we have a really fast, we have pretty good accuracy. Gwendolyn is bringing increased accuracy, so it doesn't have to be crazy high accuracy. And then she's just using the A3 and the A2, and the A1 is a huge help with Ninja joining on those attacks. Now for her masteries, we have War Master. War Master is a huge help, one with Life Drinker, but also with Leech. It makes Mikage be able to stay alive without too much of an issue. And then I have Siphi. Now, Siphi could probably be some different champions since I do have Gwendolyn on the team, who does bring an increase. No, I thought she did. She does not bring an increased speed. Okay, so Siphi, you do need an increased speed champion, without a doubt. Because unlike normal bosses where they're capped at a turn count, like, okay, for Hydra, you have 1,500 turns and it's done. Chimera is not like that. You want to take as many turns as possible for each one of the Chimera's turns. So the Chimera gets 65 turns. Every 5 turns, it's going to swap forms in a specific order. So you just want to get as many turns as possible. So things like increased speed, increased turn meter, all that kind of stuff is fantastic. Now you do have to balance Relentless sets and things like that because you will be outrunning your buffs, which you don't want to do either. So it's kind of a give and a take there. Now for Siphi, we have 9-piece protection. I'd say 6-piece is very much recommended. But 9-piece, if you don't have 6-piece, or if you don't have 6-piece, then I guess you're not going to be able to do 9-piece. But if you can't make the 9-piece happen, go ahead and do a 6-piece. That's not an issue. Of course, relics, we'll look at this once we actually get them released. But for her masteries, we have this. So just more PvP type masteries. We could go War Master, but she's been surviving fine, so we don't really need that. Though War Master could be something you need to go. For Gwendolyn, she's bringing a lot of really good stuff. Honestly, Leech, decreased accuracy is really good to open with on that first boss. After the opening, the future rotations of that boss, though, you're not able to guarantee that he's not going to strip you because you don't get to open with the decreased accuracy, unfortunately. And I have no champions that are very good with increased resistance, which is another option to use, but sorry, Crixie is amazing. But for this content, I'm having a hard time fitting her in. So Gwendolyn, very good damage, gets the extra turns. Ally attack from Mikage, she is going a lot. Now I do have her built differently than I do for Fire Knight, which I may have to adjust this a little bit because I do use her on my Fire Knight team. And on the live servers, I may actually make some adjustments with her. Honestly, she could be swapped over into Cruelty, or even, probably better yet, is to put Nature's Wrath on her for this. Nature's Wrath will probably be very good for her in this content specifically, so I may even do a little bit more of a run. Now for Helicath, I have him also in 9-piece protection. Once again, if you don't have the 9-piece, just go the 6-piece. 6-piece is really what I'm looking for. He doesn't do a ton of damage, but he does decent damage. So we come over here and look at what he's got going on. We have Helm Smasher, which to be honest, it'd probably be better if I got War Master instead, because War Master is going to actually give him a bit more damage overall. And then we'll go down here and pick up some counterattack stuff. Because, hey, I want to be counterattacking whenever I can, basically. Just some random things. This is the test server. It doesn't really... Actually, one second. Let me There we go. This is a test server. I forgot to throw that little image up. But then we have no like ascensions down here, so the pieces of gear are kind of mediocre. The ninja, he is in 6-piece merciless, which is really good. He's doing solid damage. Any other affinity, he's gonna be even better. We have War Master, and then we have Nature's Wrath. Of course, if you have a ninja better than mine, which is not gonna be very difficult to do, then change up those stats a little bit. But for him, we have 258 speed, good accuracy, but with Gwendolyn bringing increased accuracy, I don't have to worry about Mikage swapping forms and going increased accuracy. Increased accuracy is very important here. I don't know what the boss's accuracy is, but Ninja was getting resists at 300. It's probably closer to 400 maybe. I'm really not sure, honestly. But let's jump in here and walk through it from the beginning. So what you're going to have at the very beginning is this form. You'll see that I have my Gwendolyn fast enough that she can open with the A2 after Sify does her boosts. That A2 being opened with is going to allow her to place the decreased accuracy, and my champions don't get any buffs stripped. Even if I didn't have them protected, I resisted everything there, which is going to give me a great start. Now, Mikage is going to be here for a few different reasons. One, well, actually, a lot of reasons. She brings the A1 that makes Ninja join in the attacks. She brings the A3 for the ally attack, but then she brings the A2 to lower the duration of this increased speed. I really don't want that there, but I don't really have any better options to get rid of it that I know of. But maybe you do. Maybe you could throw in somebody in Gwendolyn's spot who could bring some good heals, maybe bring a strip, and bring some other buffs or debuffs that could help you complete some trials. Trials are very important, but it's difficult to juggle all the trial requirements. I'm going to show you guys in just a moment what we're going to look at with the trial requirements as the forms switch. But for Gwendolyn, that's her roles. Helicath, block damage, and the shield, both of those extremely valuable. The block damage helps a lot getting you to the point of the 4 to 6 trials. 4 to 6 trials, block damage not doing as much, but the shield then does a lot. He places a pretty massive shield as well. Another champion I considered was using Ultimate Death Knight, because UDK brings a shield, brings a continuous heal, brings a decreased attack as well on the A2 skill. I just don't want to switch his gear all the time, but he's a champion who may be worth considering. Also, against the Ram form, I believe he soaks that single target hit a little bit, though it wasn't working as consistent as I would like it to. But this hit right here, that is actually something you want to direct it. That's going to target the champion with the lowest crit damage, which is typically going to be your reviver. But there's actually quite a bit of benefit on having this champion killed. I want the champion with duel to die, because this dual bar is going to make everybody else do less damage, this dual buff. Helicath is the only person who's not getting his damage mitigated, but Helicath's not doing much damage. So if this boss actually kills Helicath, then I'll be able to actually complete this trial number 3. But until he kills Helicath, there ain't no way that I'm doing 1.5 million damage. And honestly, I've not had any shot. Okay, there we go. So now he breaks it, kills it, and trial number 3 should be underway. Helicath's gonna be picked up, but that purple bar is 1% of the boss's HP. It's just so difficult to actually go through. Now for this trial number 3, we have to damage the Chimera within 3 of its turns while it's under decreased defense debuff and your champions are under perfect veil. So that leaves Ninja as the only champion who can do that. And unfortunately, Ninja being weak affinity means that I'm not going to be able to do that damage very easily. Then, with the trial number 2 easy, we already missed the chance for doing this because it has to be within 5 turns, but that's just placing a bunch of unique buffs. We also have to be under increased accuracy, which is why Gwendolyn's there. Now, the fear or true fear, honestly, it's one of those things where you have to decide what's worth it for you. It's going to be very difficult for most players to complete many of these trials at all, while also building a team that gets the chest. So you're juggling 2 things. The chest, which is your damage, and the trials, which I believe is your multiplier, as well as getting these extra rewards down here below. So you have to decide what's most worth it for you, which ones can you just not worry about, and which ones do you just need to do. Do we have any other chests? Is that the only one that gives a chest right there? Huh. I guess it is. That's interesting. I didn't realize that even... What does that chest even give me? What form was that in? Rare gemstone. Cool. Circular gemstone. That's kind of neat, though it's rare. Not for sure how needed that will be. But it's something you have to juggle as far as the trials and the actual damage. Because things like fear, not many champions have fear. Lydia does. Lydia's awesome. But she's going to take a slot in this team that really can't be given up. It'd be Helicath, but Helicath is protecting me from damage. He is placing weaken. Lydia would too, but he's also placing a big shield. She just doesn't bring the same survivability boost that Lydia does. Lydia doesn't bring the same survivability boost that Helicath does. And then for the Ram form, we have, actually no, the Viper form is the one that's the most difficult, I believe, to meet the requirements of. If you have Harima, you can do this one no problem. The decreased attack, easy. I don't have Harima, so I can't do that very easily. I have no champion who I want to throw the decreased attack with. We could maybe use Krisk, but then I'm replacing Helicath, so I'm losing some stuff. Also, I kind of want to make this a little bit more accessible, but Krisk, I just wasn't noticing as successful runs because I don't have the weaken, so my damage is a little bit lower overall. I've seen Krisk used in a lot of really good teams. For me, this wasn't doing great. Now for this Lion form, check this out, guys, and I may need to report this to Plarium, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 buffs. The trial number 1 on the far left says damage the Chimera while it is under 6 or more debuffs, and your champions are under increased defense buffs. Will not count damage from counterattacks. But if we look at my champions, okay, no increased defense yet, but let's put it on everybody and see what happens. If I can. Because we're going to keep all the debuffs up there, no problem. Because I have Gwendolyn extending the duration of those debuffs, which, by the way, it's another huge benefit of her, is that debuff extension, super sweet. The Lion form, by far the easiest to get the trials done with my team. We can't do this one, don't have decreased resistance. Another debuff that's very difficult to actually fill in. There's a few champions, Loriaka, I think brings it, but who uses Loriaka? I sure don't. Maybe you do, but I don't. So I can't complete that one, unfortunately. But the Lion form, I'm fairly sure I've done it a few times and just had all the requirements met, and this just wasn't working. I wasn't able to complete it. Either way, Lion form is definitely a good one to focus on for me to finish out the trials. All these trials will be done with my team. I could literally finish 3, 6, 7 just from the Lion form, 8, 9 from the Ram. Actually, no, let's see. 7, and then 8, 9. This one's fairly easy as well. 10, 11. Should be able to do that one. 12, probably. We have to do that. 12. While damage a Chimera with a single skill while it's on a weaken and decreased defense will not count. It says a 12 or 13 maybe. So on the Ram form, I need to make sure I can get those trials done. My team hits a lot of them. And that's probably going to be what we all have to do, is essentially just look at what our team can do instead of going for all of them. Because honestly, a lot of them seem like, okay, if your team on Lion form finishes this first one, the second one isn't too far away from that first one. Like the team synergy and stuff makes it kind of easy pathway. Whereas some of these, like in the Viper form, which is right here, the form, honestly, this form is not good. I don't like this form. This form is very nasty if you don't have protected buffs. If you do have protected buffs, it's not too bad. Thankfully, I didn't die to it again. But before doing the video, I was dying a lot to this. But this one's the most difficult for me. I don't have decreased attack anywhere. I don't have poison or poison sensitivity. You have to have both of them, actually, which is difficult because who are you going to bring? You could bring a poison set on somebody plus a Lydia, but unless the only way this would be worth it is say, actually, no, even then it wouldn't be because you probably get better benefits from going down difficulty. But if you say use 2 keys on Ultra Nightmare, which is as many as you have during the week, and it just counted all the trials you did, and it stacked those up as a multiplier. But even then, if I'm bringing Lydia, then I may not be able to complete one of these other ones because maybe I'm losing a unique debuff. So now I can't do this one or a different form as easily because Lydia is copying the debuffs that my Helicath and my Ninja are already placing. There's a lot of balancing and juggling to do. But this team, I'm actually, now that I'm running it more, I'm actually thinking this will be my team that I use in the first week because Ninja on anything else should be perfect. Now, I may need a higher soul for him, so I may be on the lookout for that. But I want to see if we get to the Ram form again. This one is kind of difficult just because of how the duel thing works. Because if you don't die with a duel up, then you're just not going to do damage to him. That's the best strategy that I found, is having the champion with duel dying. Typically, that wasn't a problem for me. But for some reason, now that my Helicath is being targeted, he just doesn't die very easily. But how it works is the form will hit you, and if it does, I think 20% of your max HP, it hits again. So just hit over and over and over and over again. But since it is not doing 20% of Helicath's max HP, maybe because of the shield, then he just stops hitting him, which makes it seem like it's pretty easy. We'll let us switch forms and see what I get one more time. But the boss seems like a lot of fun. Honestly, it is cool. And I've spent quite a few hours trying to figure out some different teams, try out some different stuff, try to mix completing the trials with also having a full auto team that does a pretty high chest. This is the best team that I have so far. It should work very well on all affinities. Obviously, Gwendolyn's going to do better on some, Ninja better on others. Magic will be the strongest for this team. But, like, it didn't kill Helicath just now. So, this one, I don't know why I'm not finishing it either. Place 7 unique debuffs on the Chimera within 5 of its turn while we're under increased accuracy. That's the key word there. Increased accuracy. So, we got increased accuracy just then. We have 5. Maybe a weaken gets placed. A weaken gets placed. Okay. What buff? It may be Ninja placing the decreased defense is one of the ones that I need. But having Mikage send him in there as well is a big help. But I'm not sure which one we're missing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know we need a decreased defense. Okay, Ninja's there. Okay, so now we can start doing some damage with this. While it's under decreased defense, which it's impossible to get decreased defense on when Ninja keeps weak hitting. Like, we're sinking so many A1s in there, he just refuses to land the decreased defense. Okay, we didn't finish the first trial, ran out of the turn count. The Brimstone does count as a debuff, so that is helping me get to my 7. If Ninja could actually get a decreased defense on him, that'd be massive, but he's just not. So we're missing both of these trials, which are very easy to finish out the rest of them if I could just finish that first one. But honestly, guys, at this point, I'm just running through the boss again, so there's no reason to continue it. But when it comes to Chimera, increased speed, block debuffs, increased turn meter, ally attacks, possibly counterattacks. I haven't had much success with that, but those things are going to be massive. Max HP champions are going to be probably the meta, specifically Marius. Marius is an incredible champion, and you'll see him in a lot of different teams. I don't have Marius yet. To be fair, in this team, I'm not for sure if I'd even use Marius, but maybe. I'd maybe use him. Either way, Newt is also very good. You're definitely going to see him in a lot of teams. You'll see Ninja Mikage stuff a lot as well, which maybe I need to build a team with no Mikage, because a lot of you don't have Mikage yet, so you're not going to be able to do this. But if you have Mikage and you have Ninja, this can be a solid team for you. Now, overall, it's difficult. It's definitely difficult to get the 1 key Ultra Nightmare. This is very, very fresh, very early. It's not even access on the live servers yet. So when it's on the live servers, all the big brain players out there are going to come up with some teams very, very quickly. Some speed tunes, all that kind of stuff. Right now, there's no speed tunes necessarily. To be honest, it's kind of tricky to speed tune anyways because of the fact that if you have like increased speed, you're going to get it stripped sometimes. If you have, you're going to have champions dying quite a bit. So you have to be mindful of that. And unkillable and block damage aren't going to work as far as a consistent method to keep you alive, because once you get higher trials, you're going to die through that. Decreased attack is going to be helpful, but I don't have it on my team. Either way, guys, that's going to be the team that I use going into the live server drop. If you have any suggestions or any champions that you think you want to try out or you want me to try out, let me know. I could try to do a more budget-friendly team for a lower difficulty. Honestly, I don't think it's going to be very difficult for a lot of players to get these lower difficulties done. These, like, brutal up is probably going to be difficult, but hard and below probably won't be super challenging. It's probably going to be doable by a lot of players who maybe didn't think they could even do this, which is awesome. I love to see that. Very cool stuff. It's going to take a while to get this champion. The chest drops, we're going to get up to 8. That's pretty cool. This, we're going to get up to 8 of the following. 2-star. Okay, we get mythical. Okay, no mythical. That's the only thing we're different, isn't it? No mythical, 5 to 7. Okay, 2 to 4. So I do want to get to the ultimate chest. We'll just have to see what it is when it releases on the live servers. Maybe I try it out tomorrow. But these difficulties, I mean, if you have a block debuff champion, throw in some protection if you have it. I know Brogni does a protected block debuffs, right? The shield buff can't be removed. Okay, so I guess it's only a Latreon who does a protected block debuffs. Latreon's awesome if you have him. A Pardon Clanfather can be an awesome champion as well. Continuous heals and block debuffs. He also does some turn meter boosting, right? Each hit has fills his turn meter, so each continuous heal buff heals an ally, fills that ally's turn meter at 10%. So a lot of cool stuff with him as well. But any block buff champion is going to be basically required. You're going to need one of those in the team without a doubt. Elva, very, very good. Having high resistance, cleansing, 9-piece protection is going to help out a lot. 8-piece if you don't have that. Cardiel could be awesome with Revival and Death. Getting decreased speed is going to be huge. Increased speed, block buffs, decreased speed. Oh yeah, say block buffs? No, yeah, block debuffs. Block buffs is going to be good. There's a lot of stuff that goes into building these teams, guys. There really is. But you've probably seen quite a few content creators at this point with various different teams. So hopefully it gives you some decent ideas as far as what to do with your champions, and maybe you can build something awesome. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what everybody comes out with here soon when it actually releases. I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you very much. Drop the like down below, subscribe to the channel, and guys, I will catch you all in the next one.